Дякуємо, що ви...
Слава Україні! Генерали, панове офіцери, ще раз вас вітаю.
As Ukraine undergoes changes at the highest levels of government, the Kremlin is already linking the reshuffle to developments on the battlefield. Speaking on July 22nd, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov suggested that changes in President Volodymyr Zelensky's cabinet could eventually affect the course of the war, while stressing that Russian forces continue offensive operations along the front line.
The Kyiv regime is visibly rattled, and it's plain for all to see. I think it will lead to some changes at the front. The dynamics there are well known. Our armed forces continue to make offensive actions across the entire width of the front, within the framework of a special military operation.
Peskov also portrayed the developments in Kyiv as a sign of growing internal pressure on Ukraine's leadership. Claiming that the Kyiv regime is shaking from the inside, he argued that the situation was increasingly visible amid ongoing preparations and political changes. 609 days into the war, and Ukraine's most brutal battlefield might just be inside its own capital. While Russian forces grind forward on the front lines, Kyiv's defense establishment is trapped in a relentless cycle of firings, resignations, and political purges. The staggering toll: 7 top-level military and civilian defense removals in just over 4 years. The instability starts at the absolute top. The highly popular Iron General, Valery Zaluzhny, was ousted in February 2024. His replacement, General Alexander Syrsky, lasted until July 2026 before being unceremoniously sacked. Syrsky's dismissal wasn't born of battlefield strategy, but forced by severe public backlash and a total collapse in civil-military relations. The civilian side of the war machine is in even worse shape. Ukraine has burned through 4 different defense ministers since the invasion began. The most recent casualty is Mikhailo Fedorov, a 35-year-old tech visionary credited with revolutionizing Ukraine's drone warfare and crippling Russian logistics. Zelensky fired him after a mere 6 months in the job. Fedorov's abrupt sacking backfired spectacularly. It sent thousands of angry Ukrainians into the streets of Kyiv, triggering some of the largest wartime protests the country has seen. The public fury forced Zelensky into a massive political corner, ultimately leading to General Syrsky's firing just days later in a desperate bid to calm the unrest. At the heart of this command crisis is a bitter generational war. Fedorov and his modernizers demanded agile, data-driven drone warfare and rapid procurement. General Syrsky and the old guard clung to Soviet-style, top-down tactics that veterans say cost thousands of lives in grinding frontline assaults. The two ideologies simply could not coexist. Now, 43-year-old General Mikhailo Drapatyi takes command of the armed forces, promising to modernize the ranks, while acting Defense Minister Yevgeny Kamara tries to patch up a fractured ministry. But as Russia entrenches itself in a stable, multi-year war economy, the ultimate question remains: can Zelensky's defense team stop fighting each other long enough to defeat Moscow?